Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carlie's Couch. I'm so excited to have you here and to be talking about what I'm talking about today. I feel like I say that every week, but I am excited. I feel like this week is really poignant because it's actually what got me back on the couch today to work on this. Today, we are talking about done is better than perfect. If you anything like me, then I'm preaching to your heart right now. Have you ever wanted to do anything like, I don't know, a job or go to the gym or I don't know, like do better on social media, create a business plan, actually launch a product, and you really start planning and you start researching. And then at a certain point, it just kind of feels like too big to get it done. Or you just keep reading and keep researching and feeling like you never know enough to actually do the thing. Or you just want to do something, or you are meant to be doing things like that you have plans for and you just never do them. If any of this is speaking to you, then welcome to this week's episode. We'll be talking about some tips to how you can actually just get things done. As the old country folk used to say, you can get her done. How can we actually just move to doing things? One of my favorite quotes about this is from General Patton, and he used it in a war thing, which I'm not talking about that, but it's a good plan vitally executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. And I want to reiterate that nothing is perfect. And the longer you stop yourself from taking action because you don't feel like it's going to be perfect, the more you just keep yourself stuck and in a box. And so this week, I want to challenge you to actually just take the action. Let's put ourselves out there. Let's create the product. Do the thing. Let's do the thing. First thing is consistency is compounding. So be consistent. What does consistent mean? Okay, so let's say you want to work out. Consistency means that you work out 5 times a week. Set a number 5 times a week. And let's say your original plan was, I want to run a mile a day and then 5 days a week. And then I want to work out for an hour. So that's 5 days. That's 10 hours of workouts because you want to run. Or I guess a mile wouldn't take you an hour. But anyways, let's just say you wanted to work out 1 hour a day for 5 days. That's 5 hours of workouts. So the first day happens and your babysitter cancels. And then now you don't have an hour to run and to work out. So you just don't work out. And so the next day you do, so you work out. But then the next day work is long, you're tired, you started your cycle, your partner was on one, whatever happened, so you don't work out again because you only have 15 minutes. By the end of the week, you have only worked out one time because you wanted to only show up for what this looks like in your head. It was an hour, and if it's not an hour, then it's not worthy, then I'm not going to do it. And what I'm saying is consistency means you show up even if it's only 15 minutes. What can you do in 15 minutes? Because by the end of the week, if you have your hour plus 15 minutes for the other 4 days, guess what? You got yourself 2 hours, which is more than nothing. So even if it's 10%, if it's 100%, I think the biggest piece in doing something and getting things done is just consistency. So making a commitment to show up for yourself, whatever that means. And we'll get into like why, but I think consistency is really important. Sometimes more information helps you get more comfortable. So sometimes the thing keeping you from taking an action could be that you're not comfortable and you don't know what you need to do. And that scares you. For example, if you don't know how to file your taxes and you feel like it's just very hard, maybe you don't file your taxes. And so now you're 3 years behind and now you're tripling down on scared because now when I file, the IRS gonna know where I live and they're gonna come get me. More research might help you in that case, but oftentimes more research becomes an excuse not to take action. And for example, if you want to be an artist and you keep researching and taking classes on how to do a thing and you keep thinking your technique is not good enough, you'll never actually create the art. If you want to start a business and you've read every book ever known to man about starting a business, the only way you really learn to do a thing is to start the thing, and you can iterate as you go. So sometimes more information can be helpful, but most often you are using it just to feel good. Like if you feel like you're taking action towards a thing when actually you're using it as a disguise to keep yourself stuck. Let's see. So consistency, info, but most important, action. And then prioritizing what's important to you, because the whole thing is, if it was really that important, you would do it. So why aren't you doing it? Does it feel overwhelming? Do you need more information? Are you not sure what you want to do? And so you need to figure out what your priorities are and look at your list of 10 priorities and then only pick 1 to 3 and then focus on that. So maybe it's your health, maybe it's your business, and maybe it's social media. Maybe it's your health, maybe it's your relationship and building your travel business. Whatever your 1 to 3 things are, everything else we talk about, think about how you can focus on those. So once you get your priorities, I probably should have started there, but here we are. Once you figure out your priorities, like what are the things that will move you forward? Okay, so I really feel like I need more bread. And if I launch this business idea, maybe that would help me get more clients. Or maybe if I spent more time doing business development, I could get more clients in my already existing business, which would then pay for this new car, this new trip to this conference, this thing that I want to do. Okay, so set your priorities, figure out what the things are that will move you forward, and focus on those. Work on time blocking, because I am not always the best steward of my time, and much to my dismay, because I'd be so irritated when I know that I need to be doing things, but I don't get them done. And often that's because I am not organized with my time and not recognizing how I need to schedule it. And so I like to time block, and this has been pretty game changing, where I set aside a couple of hours a day. So from 8 to 9 is my morning routine, for example. From 9 to 10 is when I work on podcast stuff. From 10 to 11 is when I work on business development. 11 to 12, I go walk, I go run, I go eat lunch. 12 to 1 is this. And you set aside a block of time. It's like dividing your time into slots, assigning each block to a single task or a group of tasks. Or like one day could be podcasts, one day is all my personal stuff, one day is personal training clients, one day is classes. However you want to break up your time and what works for you, trial and error. Try, but make sure you work on that. I find that when I sit down to finish a thing, I'm not always as productive if I don't sit down, 1, know what my priorities are, and then 2, just give myself free reign to work on that. So when I sit down, I'm like, all right, from 9 to 10 a.m., that's Carlie's couch time, and I'm going to work on developing new episodes. And then I'm free in that time to work on everything that I need to do for Carlie's couch. But I've already thought about what I need to do to move forward. Okay, so set your priorities, time block, and then make sure you show up consistently. And maybe you don't have a whole hour to spend on your own business, but maybe you have 15 minutes. I often find that even when I set a timer for 15 minutes to clean my house, or to focus on just the dishes or just the bathroom or just picking up and putting stuff where it needs to be, I get so much done. But just making sure you're intentional about how you time block. So you know your priorities, you set up your time block. Some other things that I do to help me create systems to actually get things done are habit stacking. And if you've read, I'm like, oh man, that book just flew my mind. But if you Google habit stacking, it comes from a very popular book that I think is really important. It's black and white. Did James Clear write it? Anyways, it's a really great book. And it's called Habit Stacking. Actually, let me look and see, because I think it's really important. Habit stacking is example. James Clear, I was right. Woo! And so he mentioned this as a way to get things done. So for example, when I wanted to do more cardio, there was also this TV show that I really liked watching. And the cardio was just incline walking, so I could actually like watch something, and I could only watch that TV show if I was walking. So it's kind of like a treat, like, oh man, I'm excited to do cardio after my workout because I get to watch this show. And that was very special to me. Or maybe you on a walk is when you get to listen to your favorite podcast. Or after your walk, or after your workout, you can spend 30 minutes on social media. Like whatever the things are, it's like you're treating yourself. It's like you're giving yourself a carrot or a highlight to do things that you don't want to do. And one of my favorite examples of like how to get yourself to do something that you're kind of struggling with is one of my clients from one of the gyms I worked at. In order to be consistent with her workout, she made a deal with herself that was non-negotiable. Any day that she didn't feel like working out, that was okay. She always had the option to not work out, but the requirement was to show up at the gym. She had to walk in the door, and if at that moment she was like, you know what, I don't want to do this today, then she could just go home, and she lived pretty close. However, she said she never actually didn't work out because the hardest part is getting to the thing. But by making that a non-negotiable, she was always able to show up for herself. And I think that it's one of my favorite things that Tony Robbins said, like, we have to stop negotiating with ourselves. Like, you say you want to do a thing, then do the thing. And I'm all a proponent for rest and making sure that you take care of yourself and you love on yourself. But are you really loving on yourself if you're never doing what you say it is that you want to do? If you're never working towards your dreams, even when, and especially when it's uncomfortable? Like, what is the balance of like, oh, I need to rest today versus no, I told myself I was going to show up. So maybe that looks like not taking a HIIT class or a crazy spin class and doing yoga or just taking a walk. But that's where the consistency comes in. You just show up for yourself. That is a non-negotiable. And why? Because you love yourself and you're worthy. I think the last thing to think about is the death to perfectionism. I think oftentimes high achievers are people who mainly high achievers, type A, people who want to do a lot. We put ourselves in boxes and we limit ourselves by trying to be overachievers. So I used to not want to log my runs if I didn't feel like going super hard on my runs because I was trying to keep my time low. So I was chasing this time and I felt like it wasn't good enough when I showed up sometimes to log it. And what happened is that kept me from running sometimes. Like, oh, I don't feel like I'm going to be 100 today. I'm not going to show up. And what I missed out on was the opportunity to show up for myself even when I don't feel like it. And I think that you learn more in those seasons than you do when you show up just when you feel good, because that is hit or miss. Some days you're going to feel good, some days you're not. And I think it's important to show up for yourself, especially on those days when you're not feeling it. And that goes for business stuff. That goes for writing grants for yourself. That goes for all these things that you say you want to do. You want to start a business. You want to earn extra money. You want to get a bigger house, find a partner, whatever your thing is, whatever your priorities are. Really think about what it'll take to move you forward. And if you don't know, find a mentor. Ask. Maybe that's when you need more information. But if you know that you need to do the thing, like I need to do these podcasts because this is something that I told myself I want to do. Y'all notice I ain't had a couple episodes in a few weeks because I didn't have a perfect topic or I didn't have the perfect setup or all these excuses. You can always find an excuse when you're looking. But when I really sat down with myself, that's what inspired this episode, because this is important to me. And I want to show up even when I feel like it's not perfect, even when it's not super polished or I might be tired. Like right now it's like 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm still on Bali time. I just got back from a retreat. Excuse me. And I'm like, why not just record right now? Oh, because it's late, because whatever. Girl, no. If you up and you excited, show up for yourself. I'm not tired at all right now. I'll catch up on my sleep and get back on my equilibrium with Pacific time shortly, hopefully. Lord willing. Amen. But for now, I'm here recording this podcast as a love letter to myself of the things of my dreams and letting myself know that I'm worthy and that it's enough with however I show up. That's actually one of my favorite lessons in yoga. And I'll leave y'all with that today, that however you show up on your mat, you can translate that to however you show up in your day today is enough. And you might want it to look perfect and to do a handstand and to knock everything out the park and to be jovial and magnetic and sexy and all these things. But maybe that's not where you are today, but it doesn't make you any less than. And you still deserve to show up for yourself. You still deserve to push yourself out of your comfort zone, to be loved, to love, to be worthy of all these things in your life. And I think that that is one of the biggest love letters you can write to yourself, is how you show up for yourself every day and the actions that you take. So hit me at Carlie's Couch on all the platforms, but especially YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Let me know how you're showing up for yourself. Let me know what you're working on to get done. If you need help brainstorming, maybe we could work that out and talk about it and think through and ideate ways to help you grow and to help you really bring your dreams to life, because I think that's super important, and want all of y'all to be fulfilled and live with intention and be surrounded by love and know that you're worthy. So hope y'all have a great day, and let me know. And if y'all have any episode topics, we'd love to hear those too. Bye, y'all.